What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Galactic Explorers Podcast. This is episode 21. Quick note, apologies we weren't around last week. We had technical issues and then we just had people weren't ready to do it and things like that. So, yes, we've had a break. We recuperated a little bit and now we are back for episode 21. So it's not a weekly podcast anymore. We went 20 weeks with it being a weekly podcast. But yeah, so we are back. And tonight I am joined by Phil.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Phil. Nobody else tonight, just me and Phil. We want to get a couple of things off our chest, I think. And obviously just address a few issues that other people have been expressing themselves about, I think. Before we get to that, if you do enjoy this podcast, make sure to leave a like and comment on any of the topics that we've mentioned tonight in the not in the description, in the comment section down below. Make sure you subscribe as well for more content on No Man's Sky, either the podcast or some of the live streams that I upload, and also other videos that I plan on doing soon. We'll get right on to doing some other stuff soon. And also make sure you check out Phil. His Twitch and his YouTube channel will be down in the description below as well. So yeah, let's get to the whole point of this episode, really. I think it's going to be mainly to do with the whole backlash against Hello Games. And I think mainly towards Sean rather than the company. Basically, people are saying that he's lied to the public, or to the gaming public anyway, promising certain things, and then on the release of the game, they're just not there in their opinion. It's fair to say that not everything is there, or at least not everything that people have seen is there. We might come across it at some point and it just wasn't there because we haven't discovered it yet. But on the outset of things, and everyone who's played it, some people have said that things are completely not there at all, and stuff like that. So we'll get into this a little bit more in depth as obviously this podcast goes along. I want to hear what your opinion is on this, Phil.
Well, if anybody has paid attention to what the things I say and do, I tend to not look at the negative stuff a whole lot. I did read about it a little bit, but I'd get a few minutes into it and just drop it because, for instance, I've seen multiple people complaining about the fact that the animals don't interact, the carnivores aren't eating the herbivores, things like that.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. They do that.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it once.
I think the problem is the AI itself, the artificial intelligence of the generated creatures, is a bit clunky and it doesn't look effective.
Yeah.
But it's there. I've seen it. I've seen carnivores chasing after other animals. I try to sneak up in the bushes to analyze it, and then the son of a bitch sees me and takes off after me.
Yeah. I think that's what people who have seen, like you say, the whole predator against like the prey aspect. They've said that it is there, but it's not to the extent that they want it to be, and once the predator notices the player, it loses interest completely. And I guess to some extent that may happen in like real life. It depends, obviously, what kind of animal it is. Obviously, if it's going to be a small predator against a smaller prey, obviously it's not going to take any interest in us, like attacking us. It will either run off scared from us, or it will just carry on chasing its prey.
And I have actually seen both of those. Oops, sorry. I have actually seen both of those instances happen.
Yeah.
And if you pay close attention, like if you can get the animal scanned, you'll notice that like it'll say something like temperamental.
Yeah.
those ones will take off after you in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But if it says something like, I've seen some predators that were very, very strange looking, and it'll have like, its gender will be exotic. It won't even be like male or female.
Yeah.
And the more strange, or we go with some good English, the stranger it is, the stranger it acts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I've seen like predators chasing after other things, and it pays no attention to me. It could care less about me because it's got a whole herd of crap to chase. But then, like, okay, who loves the crabs?
Yeah.
Fucking crabs.
Yeah, the crabs.
Oh my god.
What was I going to say? I was going to say something, but I completely forgot. But yeah, it's. Oh, that's it. We haven't really come across animals that are like, apart from like we've seen like the mice-looking animals, haven't we? Like really small-looking ones.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I personally haven't come across anything that's a very small predator. You might have got like you said, these crabs, but the crabs aren't small, are they? They're like.
No, and they're not predators either. They're scavengers even.
Yeah, but
so,
sometimes they will attack you though. I've attacked me.
But yeah, I haven't seen any small predators either.
And obviously, if an animal thinks it's big enough to take you on, and you're bigger than the thing that it's chasing, it's obviously going to go for you because you're a bigger meal for it.
Right.
But yeah, so there's things like that. There's also I've asked around and I've looked at other people's posts and things, and what we'll do, we'll go through a list and we'll obviously give our opinion, and Phil can give his.
Okay.
Make sure you guys put your opinions down as well in the comments. Different ship classes. I agree with this. I mean, you can tell by appearance that the ships are different classes. Like you got the big bulky ships; they look like trade ships. The cool slimline ones look like obviously the fighter ships. Maybe the exploration ships aren't as distinguishable as much. But there is like a visual difference between the ships. Now, but obviously what people are expecting is what are these ships going to be able to do differently from one another? And I think that's what people are more pissed off about with the ship classes.
Right.
You can have a massive trade ship, and it's all maxed out with all the slots. So you got, is it 42 slots for the ship?
48, I think.
48 slots, but you can have exactly the same amount of space in the tiny little fighter ship.
Right.
And there's no distinguishable difference between them. You can have a shitload of guns in the fighter ship, but you can also have a shitload of guns in the trade ship as well. And there's nothing distinguishable apart from the appearance between these two. Or these three ships as it is at the minute.
I have noticed I do totally agree with that, but I have noticed, and I heard that they adjusted it a bit in the little update that they did here not too long ago, but it's still pretty much the same, but like, if you are looking at the ships and what they come with,
I mean, I've noticed like maneuverability is a little bit different on the.
That I haven't noticed because I haven't had a whole lot of ships to fly. I've been really picky.
I've for some reason I've only come across like the big bulky ships, apart from ones that are in the spaceports. But I've always gone for these big bulky ones because either that's what I could afford at the time, or that's the ones that I found crash landed on a planet.
Right.
So I've been used to them for like majority of my playthrough of the game. Now I've literally just come across like a fighter looking one. Switched to that after this, and I've noticed when I I take off and like doing the spinning thing,
right?
The barrel rolls, that it moves a lot quicker than the trade looking ships, the big bulky ships. I don't think the speed of the ship is different. Like going from 0 to whatever is different, the acceleration or anything. But I can definitely tell like the maneuverability is a little bit different.
I'll have to check that out because I got my first ship was my download ship, and that thing worked great for me.
Yeah.
So I beefed it up a little bit, and I used it until I found something really cool.
Yeah.
And my second ship was like, it didn't really even have much for wings on it, but it was like really sleek lined and almost Cadillac-like.
Yeah.
And it was all gold.
Right.
But it was more like it was pretty much flew the same. Now my new ship is a big ass cargo looking ship with like the double tank container going down the backside. So, but I haven't really flown around with it much. I did notice that the defenses on it, the default defenses, like the engrams that it came with, were way beefier than my fighter ship, and that is where I noticed the difference in the ships.
Yeah.
It's not so much what you can do to it, but what it comes with stock.
Yeah.
The fighter ships will have a bit more firepower. The cargo ships have a bit more.
But is that due to the upgrades that are already installed in the ship, though? So if you've got two ships, like a fighter one and a trade one, with what they already come with, so some of them obviously will come with more guns and weaponry upgrades, and the trade one might come with more defensive upgrades onto it. If you removed all those upgrades, are they still going to be the exact same ship?
We'll see that. No, exactly. Once you start modifying that thing, you have the freedom to do whatever you want to it. You know what I mean?
If you strip all the upgrades off it, though, is it still the same ship? Is it the same defense? Is it the same attack ability? Like,
right? I don't think so.
And I think that's what people are more worried about.
Right.
If you see a big trade ship, you think it's going to be a bulkier ship, and
like,
obviously,
my first impression was find a big ass cargo ship because they should have more slots. Well, that's not the case. It depends on who's flying the ship. Is he a low man on the totem pole, private, or is he a sergeant?
Yeah,
I've noticed that the bigger the title of the pilot, the bigger the plane is. You know. Yeah. So that went out the window for my theory on what to look for.
So I think I don't want to say that they've lied to us. I think they may have over-exaggerated on some things, or they've not explained what it is on release of the game. Like it may come to a point where these things get applied in another update, where like fighter ships will have for stock like higher shooting power or something like that, and obviously, like I said, trading ships will have a higher defense.
Well, see, I'm not sure if it's possible the way they made the game or the way they made the ships, because like it's like the ship is an empty core, and all of its defenses, attacks, scanning abilities are in the engrams themselves.
Yeah.
So if you took two totally different ships with, say, the same amount of slots, like a fighter ship with 18 slots and a cargo ship with 18 slots, they'll come stock with different things. But if you strip all that away, the ship is nothing but a container.
Well, maybe what they could do then is certain ships will have will be able to have the higher upgrades. So like a fighter ship won't be able to have more than a fourth shield booster, whereas a trade ship will be able to have that extra fourth or fifth booster upgrade attached to it. But then on the flip side, the fighter ship will be able to have like 5 or 6 gun upgrades, whereas the trade ship might be able to only have 2 or 3.
But it can't handle as many defense upgrades. Like you can't put it to the 5th tier on a fighter because it's a fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think they should
that
have
might make
done
it
something
more-
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we've covered the ship part really. Let's have a look what else we've got here. I think people are complaining about the physics of the game as well, like the gravity and things like that. Now, Sean has explained that there is gravity in the game, but your suit compensates for that gravity. So obviously, if you go on different planets, your suit automatically compensates. That's why you don't jump higher on one planet than the other ones. But I think what other people are complaining about is when, like, say you're mining a giant rock of gold or emerald or aluminium or whatever, and you've left a little bit at the top and it just doesn't fall down.
Right.
And things like that. Yeah, I mean, it can get a little bit annoying. I mean, unless you're like someone like me where you're a bit OCD and you've got to mine the entire thing, you can't just leave a little bit left. Then it's not too much of a problem. But obviously for people who just mine like the middle bit of it and leave the top, or they don't completely clear out what was there originally, I can imagine it can get a little bit frustrating to see that the fact that it doesn't fall down or anything like that.
Well, I'd like to start off by saying, in general, I still love the game. I think it generically produced everything he said that it was going to give, in some way. But yeah, if I had to pick something, I think the gravity issue is my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah.
Because it's there. Like, if you kill a sentinel and he drops that containing unit, that cylinder, it rolls down the fucking hill and you gotta chase it.
Yeah.
But if I find a big, huge pillar of iridium and I cut the entire bottom out of that thing, the whole thing floats.
Yeah.
Now that should fall.
Yeah.
I think they should have that mechanic in it because you can mine the ground. I understand that, yeah, they have floating islands and stuff in it. And, that can work. Theoretically, scientifically, in fantasy world, that can work. Huge magnetic fields or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm mining a rock. I expect that rock to fall on my head if I'm not careful.
Yeah, no, I get it. But then again, you can say like that with like Minecraft, when you start cutting the trees. If you cut the bottom of the tree off, the rest of the tree doesn't fall down, does it? It's still
right. That always
like
bugged
that.
me too. But Minecraft doesn't have a whole lot of gravity in it necessarily. The sand and stuff like that, and the water. But yeah, that always annoyed me too. It's like, just fall so I can get that last freaking piece up there.
But then not. I don't think a lot of people have made a huge fuss about that as much as they have done with No Man's Sky. And they've had, and how long have Minecraft's been out for?
Generations now.
6 years, maybe 7,
right?
Something like that. And they've still not addressed it. There's mods where if you cut it, all the wood falls down, but the in-game, like, they have not addressed that issue whatsoever.
But yeah, the gravity is my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah.
Being in space.
Personally, like I said, it doesn't bother me too much because I just go around and clear the whole thing out anyway. But I think they shouldn't do it to an extent that it's a simulation where they have to simulate everything in gravity. Like you said, they've got the floating islands and things like that, and the rocks. I think it's hard to decide because obviously if you cut into the like you said, for example, the Iridium Tower. If you cut into that, and then it falls on top of you, then I think that's what they were trying to avoid happening. Because obviously, if you do that, and if you do it from a stupid angle, it's going to fall on top of you, isn't it?
Right.
And if you do that, you're not more than likely you're not going to be able to get your to your grave unless you cut through the iridium again, are you? I think that's probably what they were trying to avoid doing. Plus, as well, if you kill animals or if it falls on a sentinel, then you've got to deal with that as well.
Right.
I
feel that would be the what's the word I'm looking for? dangers
Yeah.
in space or
But then
on
again,
other
though,
planets.
is this game so serious and so intense to do that? Because it's a very relaxing.
Yeah, and it's not. You know what I mean? I'm just
game.
kind of trying to critique that part.
Yeah.
You know, like I started out. You know, I love the game, and it doesn't bother me that much. But
Yeah.
it was kind of annoying the first couple
It
times.
niggles a little bit.
You know,
doesn't it?
yeah.
Okay. So we've already covered the animals aspect as well.
Yeah, although their movement and animation is a bit clunky, I think the animals are pretty cool. I've seen things. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I have seen some animals.
We've also talked about the whole animal movement thing in the previous podcast. Anyway, like, can you imagine them trying to go around and assigning individual animal movement to each animal?
For real.
What they've probably done is just assigned a specific movement to specific parts. Like animal parts, so if it's got hoof feet, it moves a certain way.
Yeah,
and obviously,
it does.
If you see lots of animals with hooves, they're all going to look pretty much move the same way because it's been assigned that way. But, right,
it is.
Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say it is kind of funny seeing like a really, really big animal.
Yeah.
With a set of like, for instance, one of the first common animals I saw was like this deer bird looking thing. It had like hooves, but it had like tail feathers.
Nice.
Well, like some odd dozen planets later, I found a huge freaking dinosaur type size, and it was similar. You know how you like find similar animals, but they'll be different sizes. And the big one looked goofy as hell walking because it was so big. You could see like the folds in the elbows and stuff.
It was just really clunky.
That's just how that stuff works. Trust me, I do 3D modeling, and you can hide shit when it's smaller. But the bigger you make it, the more you'll see the imperfections.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo, you know, it's there.
Okay then, so staying on the subject of animals then, people are complaining about how in the videos we've seen animals behave differently in general. So like you'll see a group of animals grazing by the waterside, and things like that. And then obviously in the video as well, you saw like a predator came through the bush and obviously chased them and tried to kill them. Now people are complaining like, part of obviously it was just the fact that obviously the hunting part where the predator attacks their prey, but obviously seeing like animals eat together, like you said, like herbivores tend to stay in large groups, don't they, for obviously protection.
Right.
We haven't really seen. You see the odd animal, especially like water-based animals like fish. They tend to school together quite well.
Yeah.
But, the land animals, unless they're small, I mean, obviously small animals do tend to group together, but you don't see any like medium-sized or large-sized ones grouped together or anything like that. And they tend to wander away from each other. I've noticed a little bit.
Yeah. I'm sitting here like picturing some of the planets I've been on that had lots of animals and thinking about that.
Yeah.
The advertisements that we've seen, the trailers and stuff, do tend to be more animatic.
Yeah.
Than what I've seen in the game. But at the same time, like, I haven't found that perfect planet. Like, do you remember the cutscene of that big rhinoceros-looking thing ripping through the trees?
Yeah, that's the one
shit?
that's the one that I'm referring to. Yeah.
I have found planets that were very fruitful in fauna and foliage.
Yeah.
But not to that extent. But I have found planets that have like that much foliage, but then like no animals.
Yeah.
Or like I'll find some crazy planet that's like, it seems almost barren and it just has the weirdest things, but it'll be chocked full of animals. But I haven't found the two together yet. You know what I mean? Also, the variety of planets
and things like they said that obviously planets further away from the star would be colder, planets closer to the star would be warmer, and people were saying like that hasn't really been the case. It's just been a mishmash. So you might go to a star and the planets that are closer would be colder for some reason, and further away would be warmer. And also on the planets, like you would expect the planets which are in the medium distance would be more full of life and resources, and obviously and things like that. And it's just not been the case for some people. I mean, I personally haven't noticed this. I haven't gone round to every star and think, oh, if I go to the closest planet, that's going to be the hottest one. I haven't really paid attention to that. I've just gone to a planet and just explored it. But people have been saying that there isn't any kind of like, is it the golden?
They can't find the pattern. They can't find the pattern. Yeah, and I've noticed that too. It seems pretty random.
Yeah.
But the thing that I've also noticed with that is the stars are also random, and we're only used to planets around a yellow sun.
True.
Now, if you have a solar system that the sun doesn't produce a lot of heat in the first place, then even a close planet might be frozen.
Yeah.
That's my theory. I don't know. I'm hoping that's what it is, because otherwise it is totally random. I have not seen a pattern.
It appears that you can't actually go to a star, does it? I've seen people try it, and I've seen people say that they've been doing it for about 30, 40 minutes and not really any closer to it, to a star, and they've just decided to go back to where they started from.
I haven't even tried yet.
Yeah, I won't be doing it just because I don't have that much time to waste.
I thought about like turning on my ship and like packing up the warp drive, or not the warp drive, but the little warp drive, if you will, and like just set something heavy on my keyboard and go do something.
yeah, I know what you mean.
I might do that one day, see what happens.
But so it's I personally haven't noticed this. I mean, I might have a look at it next time I play to see for myself, but yeah, it's not been a major thing for me personally.
I've kind of tried, and I think it really depends on the star itself.
Yeah.
And that's making things look completely random, which, you'd almost expect to see that in space, I guess.
Yeah. Another thing is some people can't really see this game being a survival game, and I can to some extent see what they mean. It's not a survival game to what people have experienced in the past few years, is it? It's safe to say, like, usually you've got to feed yourself in the game.
Yeah.
You've got to, like, repair your tools and things like that. The only really bit of survival that you've got to do is probably like the game's version of repairing your weapons, where obviously either if you get a new ship, you got to repair it, or if you just got to refuel your multi-tool or whatnot. But like the whole weather system thing, I wouldn't class that as a survival aspect of the game. It's just a part of the game where you've got to upgrade your shields.
Yeah.
It's not a survival aspect, really.
I mean, generically, it's kind of a survival game because you got to keep feeding yourself plutonium or carbon or whatever, refueling things.
But a lot of survival games is where you've got to do all that and then extras.
Yeah, I feel it's way too easy to stay alive.
Yeah.
I
mean, especially if you don't cause any trouble, you can just keep going and not die, I suppose.
I mean, even then, like, I've come across planets where the freaking sentinels are aggressive. Yeah. They will shoot on sight, but I never die from them. Unless I, like, and I haven't done it yet, but, like, if I were to run out of jetpack fuel and all my ammo stuff, then maybe I might die. But, man, I've taken on hordes of sentinels and made it through. I've gotten away from animals, I feel more death just out in space when I come across pirates than anything.
Yeah.
I don't feel scared anywhere else,
Yeah. No, it's a very, very basic survival game.
Yeah.
It's very basic. Another thing is people complain about the space combat of the game. How it's very, very repetitive, and it's not really challenging. It's just either you max out your ship with guns and then you can just kill everything easily, or you just fly away and you can escape that way. And then the fact that not many people have flown into the situation where they've seen the massive freighter ships being attacked by, giant space battles like they've shown in trailers or in pictures or anything like that.
I have, actually.
Well, that's what I mean.
I've come into some pretty hairy battles out of warp, in the middle of crap. I'm like, wow.
And I think that's the thing. I think was a running thing with some of these complaints is the fact that they just haven't seen it.
Right.
I've actually discovered butterflies. Today I discovered butterflies on the
I saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I didn't think insects were going to be small insects, not like a giant centipede.
Right. That was like just a normal sized freaking butterfly that you posted.
And it's it's about a hand-sized butterfly. Just they're not birds. They're not the ones that fly right up high up in the air. That planet already had. Because that's another thing I've noticed though, which is quite annoying. Planets that do have animal life, there's about at least 10 animals on the planet, but then there's only one flying species. And I'd like to see a bit more variation in the flying species, though I must admit, because there's only usually ever one type of flying species. But yeah,
they are out there. I
don't mean just one species altogether. I mean. On one planet, I only seem to ever find one species of flying animal.
I agree with you too. If you even find any.
Yeah.
But I finally did. I came across a planet the other day. Just to kind of help keep people's hopes up. They are out there. I came into this one planet, and it had the most amazing flyers all over the planet. Some of them looked like freaking Chinese dragons, the ones with no claws or wings, just like the big serpent and head.
Yeah.
And it was just gliding right through the air like if it was swimming through water. There were these big leech-looking things.
That's crazy.
And the ground was full of all kind of crazy-looking fauna too. It was I think it was a radioactive planet.
Yeah.
And I really think the toxin and radioactive planets, if you find one with life, it will have the best looking weird stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So another thing is this whole meeting up with other players and stuff like that. Supposedly, I think someone on the first couple of days on Twitch realised that they were near someone and they tried to meet up, and then they were just standing in the exact same places and they just couldn't see each other or anything like that. And then I've seen reports of some people saying that they have met with other people and stuff like that. I've got no idea. Sorry. No, it's okay. Go on.
I was going to say, I don't know if I told you this last time because I got cut off, and then last week we didn't. Somebody found one of my planets.
I do remember you saying now.
Did I say that? I couldn't remember. Yeah, they found one of my planets, and then because my name on there is same as Steam, I try to keep it the same. Ghetto Cowboy everywhere. And he looked me up on Steam and found me and sent me a message. He's like, "Dude, I'm on your planet."
That's crazy,
right?
I haven't come across anyone else's planets or systems yet, though. But yeah, so this whole thing about meeting other players. Some people said they have done it. Some people say you can't do it, and things like that. Some people are just getting a little bit annoyed with that. Also, another thing that's come out this week is that your discoveries only seem to last for 2 weeks before they disappear. So the naming of your discoveries anyway.
I heard about that. I don't know what the deal is at all.
I probably won't notice because I don't name anything. I just uploaded what it originally was called. I haven't found anything like so cool that I want to name it anything. Apart from on my Twitch streams, there's one planet that I found which is amazing, and I've called it something that I call the planet, but I'll have to check back on that, in a week or so and see if it's been changed back.
Right, because like I was going to start naming planets, like if I find a planet that's really heavy in emerald, name it Emerald 5 or something like that. So like if somebody does happen to come across it, they'll know right away, hey, that thing's got emerald on it.
Yeah.
But if they wipe shit, then that ain't gonna do other people any good.
No. Like another thing is people are complaining about the repetitiveness of the game. Now, all games get repetitive after a while. That's true with any game. That's the whole reason why you buy more and more games each year, because you're bored of the game that you've been playing, so you buy another game.
Right.
But people are saying this game is a lot more repetitive than they imagined it was going to be. And I can understand that, especially at the minute, because they're still obviously adding things to the game. It's a whole, especially the fact that people are not saying it's a real survival game either.
Well, if I remember right, we brought this up before the game came out, and I think it was about the marketing. They should have marketed it as an exploration game, not a survival game.
Yeah, but if you take all the other survival aspects out of, say, like Ark, and just leaving the bits where you're having to mine for food and stuff like that, it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
If you're not having to feed yourself and just getting wood and stuff to fuel whatever, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just the fact that it doesn't have those other aspects, and obviously with Ark, obviously you got the multiplayer aspect of it. But I think people are just complaining because it just seems like they can't seem to find anything to do what they expected was going to be in the game. And like you said, it got marketed completely wrong. It should have been marketed as an exploration game. It should have been marketed as an exploration experience game. So like all these VR games where they're not really games, they're more experiences.
Because people are literal. We hear the word survival, and I expect to be spending my entire time staying alive.
Yeah.
And that's not the case with this game at all.
I mean, sometimes they put it across as being an exploration game, and then it got quite heavily compared to a survival game, and it just kind of crossed.
Yeah.
It kind of crossed over, and the whole hype thing took it to a different level, and it was overhyped. I admit it was an overhyped game for what it eventually turned out to be. I mean, obviously, eventually down the line, whatever they decide to install into the game, it might full on become well worth the thing. But it's the fact that I think people complain about the fact that it's the finished product. What came out on release day, it was nothing what they thought or
right now. How do you
presume to see?
How do you personally feel about that? Because like we talked about this in the past, and we felt it was being overhyped before the game came out ourselves. Remember I went dark and like wouldn't even watch anything because I didn't want to see all that hype.
Yeah.
Do you in general, knowing that it's an alpha game and all that jazz, do you feel like it fulfilled your happiness factor? You know what I mean?
To be honest, how do I put this? I do like survival games. I'm not a huge fan of them. So something like this appeases to me a lot more because it's not so extreme that I'm just constantly looking at my food meter, as it goes down, or the sleep meter or whatever, like the tide meter or the thirst meter.
Right.
It's a nice relaxing game for people who are not too overly play survival games in general.
See, that's where I'm at too. That's exactly where I'm at. Like,
yeah,
I expected it to be like this.
yeah,
I mean, people are complaining about the grind. You brought that up a minute ago.
yeah.
Man, you're talking about a game that's on the galactic scale. The grinding is going to be up there too.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I think what has let it down a little bit is the thing that I was really looking forward to was the whole trading aspect, and it's just not that interesting in this game. I don't know what happened to it. It just turned out a bit of a flop. Like, it's so easy to get money in this game.
Yeah.
Like, just easy money. Like you go to a planet and it's got, like, as soon as you landed, there's 3 or 4 giant rocks of emerald around you, and you got like 5 or 6 million right there.
Yeah.
The pre-order bonus of the game, you got 10,000 credits, and 10,000 credits is nothing in this game.
No, it's not.
It's completely. It's nothing.
I can get that much selling carbon.
Yeah, and so yeah, it's. I do find. I don't think I've been lied to. I expected the game to be what it is. I mean, I expected maybe a few more features added into the finished product, but bare bones is exactly what I expected it was going to be. I was hyped enough. I think I had not the right amount of hype, but I hyped.
I think that's the right way to say it.
Things about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting. I listened to what they. I mean, people are going to say, like, oh, but they lied. But I said I listened to what I wanted to hear, and what I wanted to hear was this game, what's come out. Whereas other people would have listened to it and expected to see completely amazing things. I mean, there are amazing things in the game of what we've seen so far, but there's nothing being that's like these giant, these brontosauruses and things like we've seen in the trailers. I mean, some people have seen a couple of these so far now, but you expected. I think people have blown it out of proportion and think that's what's going to be on every single planet.
Right. And see, I personally, again, I think he didn't lie. I bet you if we could, like, coincide a list of all the people that right now are saying he lied about that specifically,
yeah,
and we go back a year or two and compile a list of all the people who bitched about, oh, he sent out new footage, but it didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I bet it's the same people. Now, if he didn't say anything, how the hell could he be lying about it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They were very secretive about the whole thing.
He was super secretive about all that shit. He just gave you a little taste to know what was up and repeated it a bazillion times at different angles. So I don't think he lied because he didn't tell us shit.
Yeah, I think on the final note is the whole crashes and everything. That's had problems with the game for like the first two weeks or so. And people have been getting refunds because of the game crashing so much and things like this. Now, I think this pisses me off more than anything. I mean, at the minute, like however much you pay for the game, I think if I wanted to pay for a game, if I wanted to pay like the £50 that I paid, I would expect the game to be more or less finished. And obviously, if they are still adding updates, it's not a finished game, theoretically, is it?
Right.
So maybe if it was down to like, £30 or whatever that is in dollars for you guys, like $45, maybe that may be a bit more of a reasonable price. Obviously, a full price game, it's a bit of a piss take, but you are still getting like 18 quintillion planets to explore anyway. However you decide to spend your time and amount of time playing the game to make it boring in the first place is up to you. So if you decide to play, 50 hours in the first first 3 days, it's going to get boring. Of course, it's going to get boring. But if you stagger it amount of time you play, obviously it's going to last longer for you. But yeah, I think it's a lot of money for what came out on release. Coupled with the fact with the work was just, I only experienced the game crashing 3 times on me in the first 2 weeks. Like completely crashing where it came up with an error report and I should restart the game again.
Is that only on the PS4 that it's been happening, or has it been happening
on
console?
PC as well?
Because I have had 0 issues, like glitches and things like that.
If some people are saying like they've constantly had it, some people are saying that they haven't had it at all, or that it's just happened once or twice. Some glitches where like you get in your ship and you take off and then you fly off straight off into space at times.
That has happened to me a couple times actually.
But then I was thinking back like to when Far Cry 4 came out, and there was constant crashing problems with that on release, like the week or so into that. And,
right. Wasn't that like a $60 AAA game? That's
a AAA game where it's had over 100 people working on it for 3 years or whatever. So it's expected with a lot of games you get crashes and things like that. I mean, as well, you know, games like Far Cry and stuff like that, they come at $60 or £50 or whatever. And then you get like 3 or 4 versions of that game, so like a special edition, collector's edition, and then you've also got the DLC what comes with it as well, which they always charge for. It's hardly ever a AAA game where you get free DLC, unless it's something like a skin or a weapon pack or something like that. Not new free features. You won't get like a multiplayer mode really for free in a game. But yeah, so I can understand I think in general I can understand where some people are coming from. And then in other cases I think the features are there, you just haven't seen them yourself and things like that. So I think in overall for me, it's not 50-50, it's not quite 50-50 in favour of No Man's Sky, but I'm probably sitting about 65-35 in favour of No Man's Sky. Like I'm still enjoying the game and things, but I can see where people are complaining. I know where they're coming from, and I can understand their opinions on the game. I'm not here to condone I'm here to condone what people are saying, like the complete, like this company are complete shit. Sean's complete shit. They've lied to our faces and all that stuff. Like, no, you're a grown-up adult or whatever. You've decided to buy this game and pay for this game. If you didn't do your research into the game in the first place, that's your own fault.
That's where I'm at too, man. Like, I agree with you. The $60 price tag on it was a bit steep.
Yeah.
For being an indie game, it is an indie game and it is an alpha game, and I think a lot of people forgot that part.
Yeah.
I bought into it knowing well that I was paying way too much for a game because it's something that I knew that I wanted, though.
Yeah, but you knew going in that you were going to be paying that much.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and I knew that it was an indie game also.
Yeah.
And for that,
if you came out of it saying that it was too steep completely and you hated the game, you still had no one else to blame but yourself.
Yeah.
Because obviously you decided to pay for the game.
Because for that, my little kid gaming insides took over and said, buy the game.
Yeah.
But I would say I'm 80 to 90% in favor of the game, in spite of all the problems that it's having.
Yeah.
And the monotony is huge. The monotony is, oh my God.
Yeah, I think if they do stick to the whole fact that they're going to do free updates, then I will definitely raise my, percentages and things. But
right.
So obviously there have been rumours that there's possibly going to they will charge for certain updates and things. But as long as they give free updates to what they promised or what they said would be in the game at release, then that's fine. Anything after that, if they want to charge me, that's completely fine with me.
Right.
But yeah,
it's like we talked about this before too. Now's the time. Are these developers going to stay on top of their game, keep it going, make it better, not screw it up, not drop the ball? things like that. It's in their hands now whether this game is going to actually be great or not.
Yeah. And I think that is a perfect way to end the podcast, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Phil, for being here as well.
Always, man.
If you have enjoyed the podcast, make sure you do leave a like. Comment your opinions. We want to hear what you guys think on the whole situation and what you feel the game needs or doesn't need or whatever. Just want to hear from you guys. Make sure you subscribe to both myself and to Phil. His channel will be in the description below, like I said at the beginning of the podcast. And make sure you check out the podcast on iTunes. It is there for you guys to check out. I know the live episode isn't on there just because it was way too hard to clean it up. It just would have sounded really bad, but it is on my YouTube channel. So if you do want to watch the live episode, it is on there. But yes, from me and Phil, we shall see you next time.